Welcome back to another Kitchen Table Wargaming episode. Today we're going to have Drukhari versus the Ultramarines over there. The Drukhari today are going to be running a Ynnari detachment. So we have Cavalite Warriors, we have one Lamian, I don't know how to pronounce that, the Archon, Incarn, 10-man squad of Incubi, 2 Venoms, 2 Ravagers that both have the triple disintegrator cannons. We have Drazar, and then this detachment here is Prophets of Flesh. So we'll have Drazar as the Warlord, Hatred Eternal, have Scourges with Heat Lances, Homunculus with the Vexator Mask, Racks, there are a couple of special weapons, the Ossifactor and a Hex Rifle in there, 3 Talos, and 2 Raiders, both with the Disintegrator Cannons as well. And that is 2,000 points exactly. Kind of having some fun learning the Ynnari rules, trying to get this to work a little better. And we'll come around in a second and take a look at the Ultramarines. All right, so this is 2,000 points, new Codex, all the fun stuff going on today. So my brother-in-law Andy is here playing, and he's bringing a few different things, trying out no named characters. Yeah, very interesting. I'm not sad to not have Gulliman, if I'm being honest. 10-man squad of Assault Intercessors, the Bikes, Storm Talon. Then we have the Apothecary with, what are all the, he has the Relic, he has the Warlord trait, so he's basically healing whatever he wants to for fun, is how I like to describe it. The Captain, he has the Anti-Psyker Relic?
He has, yes.
Okay, I don't know what it's called.
The Reliquary of Gathalamor or something like that.
Excellent, excellent.
Big word.
Something big word. Chaplain, he is the Warlord for the Ultramarines today, and he has the special ability for litanies on 2s.
Yes.
And there's just a lot of things that the Marines get to do, so I'll probably forget what half of them are called. You have Lieutenant, and the Apothecary and Chaplain both have the Absolver pistol, is that right?
Yes.
And the Chaplain's is the 3-shot version of it. The Relic version. We have a Judiciar, 5 Inceptors, sorry, yes. It's a good thing you're here. We have the Vanguard back there, the Blade Guard, sorry. Eradicators, Redemptor, an Ancient, 10-man of Intercessors, and a 5-man of Intercessors. Yes. Okay, so 2,000 points exactly, and yeah, I don't know what to expect. So we're gonna have some fun. We'll roll up a mission, get the board set up, and then we'll be back with turn 1. All right, we have deployed. Andy won the roll-off, let me be the defender, or made me be the defender. So I chose this deployment zone. We've kind of spread out a little bit back here. Ravagers, an empty Raiders in the back. That Venom over there has Warriors in it. Down here we have the Racks, the Incarn, the Archon. Down kind of hidden inside the Talos unit there's the Homunculus, giving everybody his little bubble. A Raider full of Incubi. A Venom with Drazar, and a Lamian. The Scourge are in their little winged deflect thing. We are playing Vital Intelligence. We are playing the Eternal War version of this, so we're not doing the chapter approved missions, but the board layout is the same, so you have 4 objective markers down through the center, and then 1 in each deployment zone. Then you've got the little diagonal thing as the Ultramarines are easily pointing out for us, yes, with their deployment. So we've got Intercessors, Assault Intercessors, we've got Blade Guard, we've got a whole slew of characters, the Melta scary people, Eradicators? Yeah, those guys. More Intercessors, Storm Talon, and then over on this other flank, we've got the 3 Outriders and the Redemptor, and the Inceptors are still hovering on their jetpacks. So we are about to have the roll-off for first turn. Before we do that, we'll mention that the Drukhari have taken engage on all fronts for secondaries, assassinate, and raise the banners. And the Ultramarines have, what did you take? Which 3? I remember that you took Domination, the special Marine one.
Bring it down.
Oh yeah, and Bring It Down, of course.
Oath of Moment.
Oath of Moment, yes. So those are the ones. So here we go. We'll do a roll-off right quick. See who's going to take first turn. I have a 3. That would be a 5. So, are you choosing to go first?
Yes.
Ah, surprised. Shocked, I'm sure. All right, we'll be back at the end of turn 1 with a summary. All right, so the end of the Ultramarines turn 1, they moved up. The bikes and the Redemptor and Stormtalon came out, did a lot of shooting at this poor little Venom. I don't know what he did to offend them, but it survived, amazingly enough. It's got 1 wound left. Back here, the Talos took a few shots, didn't hit. That was nice for me. This Venom over here got a wound removed from the Intercessor squad up here on top of the hill. And a couple of pistol shots, didn't do any damage. On this front, this group advanced and is actually within 3 of this objective marker. So they're holding that. So the Ultramarines do have 3 markers technically, because with the Vital Intelligence rules in Eternal War, once you have claimed an objective, it stays yours until the enemy takes it away from you. So even though these Intercessors moved, they are still technically, I think, in range as well by the rules, but they don't have to stay there to still hold the objective. And the bikes are sitting on a 3rd objective. So spreading out a bit, did a little bit of shooting, didn't do a whole lot of damage yet, but I'm afraid of the Redemptor. It did a lot of whiffing, sadly. I think next turn it's gonna not whiff, and there will be puffs of my army left when it's done. So we'll see, going into the Drukhari turn 1. End of the Drukhari turn 1. It was actually not horrible. These 2 vehicles moved forwards, didn't really do a lot. We shot almost all of our weapons up there at the Intercessors on the hill, killed all but 1. He passed his morale, because that's what they do. Killed an Eradicator, that was something. Then came around, we moved a bit back here, shuffling things, protecting things. And then the Talos, they were spectacular. The Haywires took all but 1 wound off the Redemptor, and then the Talos made an 8-inch charge into the Outrider squad here and killed them on exactly the number of wounds needed to kill them. It was terrific. Paid the 2 CP to reroll wound rolls, and the twin macro scalpels did the rest. These guys over here jumped out of the Venom, raised the banners over there. That Venom just kind of scooted forward to be a little buffer, didn't need to be. And we raised the banner on this objective marker back here with the homunculus, with the racks. The only negative, in my opinion, out of this turn was that after the Talos made the charge, my homunculus is feeling a little bit exposed. So we'll see if that comes back to bite him in the rear or not. But all in all, not a bad turn 1. Kind of interesting. Board positions are getting settled, and yeah, we're about to go into Ultramarines turn 2. We'll see what happens next. All right, end of turn 2 for the Ultramarines. Inceptors came down over here. They were actually back in the corner behind the building, the bunker there, and they destroyed my Cavalry Warriors, so the Incarn popped up over there. And then in the charge phase, the Inceptors charged the Talos instead of the Incarn, because it made sense. Charged into the Talos, and the Redemptor charged in, and the Talos are still there, and fewer of the Inceptors are there. But all in all, I don't think a lot happened there. The Incarn, however, decided not to hang around because my Raider got destroyed, all the Incubi jumped out, and then the Blade Guard veterans came in and slaughtered the remaining 3 that still stood after all of the shots came in at the Incubi. So the Incarn said, hello, and jumped over here. So we were able to scare the Inceptors away from an objective marker, which is, I guess, good there. And then the Incarn is in a nice place to do some charges and psychic and have a little bit of fun in this turn. So hopefully that works out to my advantage. I thought it might. Who knows? The Venom was enveloped by angry Interceptors. They killed it very easily. What is it, 51 attacks? And it only took half of those to kill the Venom. It's not surprising. So Drazar and the Lamian had to emergency disembark to get out, and they survived, thankfully. And over here, these Interceptors moved around. They did a lot of shooting damage, and the one guy up on the hill kind of dropped back a little bit. And that's about it. The Apothecary did what he does, of course, and brought back an Eradicator. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll go into this next turn here with the Drukhari, and some of my bigger threats are dead. Some of my other big threats are alive, so I don't really know how to feel at the moment. We shall see. So we'll be in turn 2 in just a second. All right, end of Drukhari, turn 2. We have been doing some things. We've shuffled around over here. We took care of the Blade Guard veteran. This little Ravager is actually fighting the Space Storm Talon. I almost called it the Space Potato. Sorry, Tabletop Tactics. I shouldn't steal your words. It didn't do any damage, and it didn't do any damage, so that was comical. And I find it really funny that the Fly and the Fly are not on the same level. Little Lamian over here came around, got close enough to raise the banner on that objective. We did kill 5 of the assault interceptors with the Ravagers in the shooting phase. And sadly, it took all 3 of these characters to kill the 3 Blade Guard veterans. It is what it is. Over here, the Incarn hopped up, killed the Apothecary and another Eradicator. These guys back here have been untouched. This handsome fellow has survived all the shots fired his way. He's just being a hero. The Scourge came down here and did very little, not much to speak of. And then over here we had the Venom, just moved around and tried to shoot at the Interceptor and didn't do anything. And then over here we killed another Interceptor in combat. The Redemptor actually killed the other Talos, and that's where we stand on that. So yeah, end of the turn 2. That was just turn 2. So end of turn 2, it's kind of interesting. There's a lot happening. Both armies have some weaknesses going now. This Redemptor with 1 wound is starting to make his presence felt, which is interesting because he's only got 1 wound. So we'll see what happens. We're coming back in Ultramarines turn 3, and we'll come back when that is done. So the end of Ultramarines turn 3, the Space Talon, Storm Talon, flew into the corner. Ultramarines falling back and shooting is dirty. I don't like it. These guys are still alive. This mob scooted back here and they killed the Incarn. I was kind of disappointed Andy didn't kill the little Lamian over here because those are objective secure and it's not. And if he could have just killed it, the Incarn would have zipped over here and then I would have had tasty snacks instead of a whole bunch of characters with nasty melee and charging. The Scourge are gone. Failed the morale. He killed all but 1 and then failed the morale test. So that's that. Over here, another Talos died. The Redemptor is doing more work on 1 wound in 2 turns than it did in the first turn. The Venom's still there. These Interceptors jumped up. They fell out of combat, jumped up to get close enough to take my banner down, and they're holding that objective, which is sneaky. So this turn, I didn't get, starting turn 3 for me, I don't get any primary points. And Andy scored domination on that last turn, covering the board. It's all spread out. It's very interesting. This is a swingy game, but the Drukhari are starting to lose units a little faster pace than he is with the Ultramarines, so it might not last too much longer. We shall see. The end of turn 3. There are still some Drukhari standing, so I'm happy with that. We killed the Redemptor finally. Should have done that a long time ago. Killed one more of the Inceptors. That guy's still there, being a thorn in my side, holding that back objective. Big news over here, though. The Venom, with 1 wound left, came up, made the charge, and actually killed the Intercessor that was holding down that objective. So that was kind of fun to do. Then over here, we shot and killed a few of these guys in the back. Not enough. We got rid of some, though. And Drazar and the Archon came in and tag teamed and wiped out the assault intercessors that were here. And the homunculus and the rats just kind of stayed put. The rats got out of the raider and moved up, so they're holding that objective as well. And that's where we're at. So we're done with turn 3, going into battle round 4, and the score is actually still pretty close. I didn't score any primary points in the last turn because you have to hold 2 to score 5 points. In this particular game. So now I'm holding a bunch of objectives again, and he's probably going to take them away from me again, and we'll see what happens after that. So Ultramarines turn 4 coming up. End of the Ultramarines, turn 4. The Talon came over here, did some wounds on the Talos. The Inceptor scooted out this direction, he advanced. His nice little, what are they, assault bolters, I guess it was, killed the Venom over here. The Eradicator was very rude and killed Drazar. I did not appreciate that. Then down here in the middle, we had quite the little mess. So my Archon, well, Drazar was dead. My Archon spent the CP to Overwatch with his blast pistol, killed the Lieutenant. That was really exciting. And then he got shot. No, it was, yeah, he got shot at. So he must have failed that. Yeah, it was, sorry. In the shooting phase, he failed Ace Shadow save. It was very, very sad. So his invulnerable save went away, and then the captain came and just diced him up in combat. We lost a single rack to all the melee over here, and no wounds on the homunculus, so they're being resilient and obnoxious as they do, but they're also protecting all the characters now because I can't shoot them, so that's interesting. Still have a few vehicles left I can shoot with and move around the board with, and then we still have this group of dudes holding down this objective, so it is interesting. Yeah, we're gonna have to see if we can do a lot of shooting in this turn and maybe make it hard for the Ultramarines to survive. They are winning in points. I think you're up by a 10-ish, maybe more than that currently. So about to score up for Drukhari turn 4. Well, this is the end of Drukhari turn 4. We've had a lot of death over here. This one Ravager was the hero, killed all of the remaining intercessors. Lamian's holding the objective now. Charged the Eradicator. The Eradicator actually punched and hurt the Ravager. That was kind of comical. Didn't do any wounds to him. Over here in the middle, we had some thinking. We fell back and left these two guys sitting over here on the objective. The Chaplain was over here, so my Ravager came down and shot the Chaplain and shot over there with help of the Raider and killed that Interceptor. Is that right? Inceptor. I always get that mixed up. Over here, the Talos did an advance and flew across the bunker because that's cheeky like that, and took that objective back. Did a couple wounds on the Storm Talon, but not much. The ballistic skill of 5 after advancing is tough. So over here we had a long discussion about this. So with Ultramarines falling back, it's going to be interesting. He can spend a CP that he gets for this turn, and at least one of these two guys can fall out of combat and go up and attack this and try to kill it. Over here with the Eradicator, same thing. He can fall back and then still shoot at the Ravager with the Eradicator's multi-melta. It could be all it takes to kill that. So there's still some plays to get some points, but surprisingly, the Drukhari are hanging around. The 4 of Invulnerables over here have been pretty clutch, keeping them around. So we shall see what happens at the end of turn 5 for the Ultramarines. All right, end of turn 5 for the Ultramarines. It was very interesting. Mr. Eradicator punched another hole into the hull of the Ravager there. Did some shooting, took a few wounds off the Ravager in the middle. For the Oath secondary objective, this captain has jumped up. He actually did not wound the Ravager. It was kind of disappointing. We were all excited. This guy over here killed off the racks, so the Judiciar and the Homunculus are facing off. The Homunculus actually rolled a 6 on the Ichor injector and took wounds. It was amazing. I was pretty excited because that never happens. Over here, this was good times. The Talos had 3 wounds. Storm Talon shot him, took him down to 1 wound remaining, and he was in hover mode and charged the Talos, which is really cool. We just kind of laughed a little bit. The Storm Talon got hurt by the Talos a bit, so he's down to 3 wounds, and the Talos is still sitting there on 1. Pretty wild. Having a good time. This is a pretty crazy end of the game. I don't know what the points are exactly. They're close, but I did get max for holding, so we'll see what happens. We're finish out turn 5 here in just a minute for the Drukhari. End of the game. Drukhari were able to defeat the Ultramarines by a score of 67 to 35. And we killed the Judiciar, the Captain, and the Eradicator. And over here, the most epic non-combat ever. Mr. Stormtalon survived on a wound, and the Talos survived on a wound. And neither one of them could blow up on each other and get the final kill. Would have been the final points. I'll bring it down for the Ultramarines, and it would have just been funny to see the Talos kill him for me. So I guess it didn't matter so much for the Drukhari. But that was a very interesting game. Very, very surprising outcome. But that's it. So victory for the Drukhari, and it was a lot of fun. Good game, sir. Thank you very kindly for playing. Much enjoyed.